Hey, what is happening, everybody? Good evening. This is Josh Howell from Nerf Herders Assemble here with another edition of I Don't Know Anime. For those of you that haven't seen this segment before, again, my name is Josh. I'm a huge movie buff. I'm a huge TV buff, huge comic buff, huge uh, uh, Saturday morning cartoon buff. I've seen a lot of stuff, but I didn't grow up with cable, and I only watched like three or four cartoons when I was growing up, and I was never really exposed to anime. And growing up, I kind of felt left out, and I know that there's a lot of great stuff out there, both old school and current. And so, especially when I was kind of stuck at home for a while over the past couple months, I made a point to watch more anime. And I've seen we've had a couple on here like Akira, and they were 11. And what was the other one that we did? Wicked City. Basically, I just kind of asked you, what are some good anime that movies and things that I can watch? I haven't been doing a lot of modern anime, only because usually I post a reaction on here as well on YouTube. If it recognizes the music or if it's really modern, like in the last 10 years, it usually strikes it down immediately. But one of the ones that I've been getting requested a lot about has been Gantz. And I've seen I go to a lot of Comic Cons because I sell my books and my comics at Comic Cons, and I've definitely seen this cosplay before. These awesome black suits with these tech guns and everything, and I didn't really know where it came from. So everybody kept on saying Gantz, and I started looking into Gantz. And like a lot of anime, it's based on Japanese manga that I haven't read. And if it's something that I really like, perhaps I'll dig into that. Um, but I found that there were two seasons of an anime series that came out in 2004, I believe, and then there was a couple live action movies. And then there was a recent kind of a CGI animated movie that is on Netflix, actually, called Gantz O. And so for this, I thought I'd split it into two parts. So this first part, and usually I don't even do this live, but I thought this would be a fun thing to do live. This first part, I thought I would talk about the anime series and the live action films. And then for the second part that I'll put out later this week, I will do a reaction to Gantz O. The reason I'm not going to have a reaction to the anime series is because it's it's pretty violent, which isn't a problem for me. But there's a lot of nudity and a lot of language, and I was just having a hard time clipping it and everything to where it was, there was a point to it. And I thought I would just talk about it, give my thoughts, kind of go through the majority of the plot points without spoiling everything, and yeah, just give my thoughts on it. So let's dive into it here. So Gantz, like I said, it's a 2004 anime, and it's got this epic opening music here. I love it. It's just it's a cool opening song. I'll give it that. I really like it. I'm hoping YouTube doesn't strike me for playing this, but it's pretty cool opening song. I like it. I'll play this in the background, but yeah, it's at least when you start off the show watching this, you see it looks like some action. It looks like a pretty intense show. And that's kind of what I was expecting. This is the first thing I'd seen from this. I didn't watch trailers. I didn't watch anything. Like I said, the only other knowledge I had of this was the cosplay that I've seen. So I was really expecting a lot of action, and whatnot, similar to kind of Wicked City, which had a good amount of action in it as well. So, yeah. So Gantz, mainly the it has a lot of characters in it, but you're really following these three characters. Kay is the main character, Kato is the other guy, and Kishimoto is the girl. And it starts off really cool. It starts off with Kay. Well, you see him at a subway station, and some drunk guy falls on the tracks, and he recognizes his like a childhood friend, Kato, that he's seen in a long time. And Kato takes a deep breath, jumps on the tracks to save this guy. And the guy's a little heavy, and he's calling out, somebody come help me! The express train's coming. He's gonna die, and nobody wants to come help him. And he looks up and he sees that Kay is there, and he recognizes Kay, and he's like, come help me out, be a good guy. And Kay doesn't really want to do it, but he's being called out in front of everybody. And then everybody starts giving him shit like, that's your friend, go help him. So he gets down there, they save this guy, but then they can't get up quick enough, and they try to outrun the train. Of course, that doesn't work, and they die. And that's how it starts. And they die gruesomely. I mean, the train hits them. Joe Alvarado says, "I love Gantz, and you're in for a treat. The anime and movies are crazy. I know it's not for everyone, so hopefully you'll enjoy it." Yeah. So that's how it starts. They get killed by a train. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then they wake up in this room with this big black ball, like, 4 or 5 foot tall black ball. It's kind of like a studio apartment with no furniture. And there's some other people in there. And it seems like most of them are just as like lost as they are, as to how they got there, as to why they're there. Some of them remember dying or are pretty sure that they died, and they don't know why they're there. There's one guy. There's one little snotty ass kid named Joe Chiro, who he apparently knows what's going on. He's already dressed up in this black suit, and he's just waiting for whatever is about to go down. And he doesn't really feel like telling people what's going on. And then the last person, before whatever is about to go down, shows up, and the ball like digitally creates them, almost like a transporter in Star Trek or something like that. But basically, like digitally, like line by line, carbon copies this person in, and it's a girl, and it's the Kishimoto girl, and she's naked. And it looks like she might have slit her wrists because she's got like blood on her wrists. And she gets like materialized right in front of Kay, and he kind of catches her. And this is just like one thing of many that I had problems with Kay. So Kay is like the main character. Okay, he's the one that gets the most screen time. And I watched this with the English dub, and perhaps I shouldn't have done that, because um, it wasn't until later that I started turning on the subtitles as well, and the dub and the subtitles don't mesh up. Like, if I would have just watched this with subtitles, Kay wouldn't have come across so crass and so much like a dick. I mean, he's incredibly unlikable. I just didn't like him. I mean, I get it. He's young, he's horny all the time, but he's such an asshole. And he's cussing all the time. He's cussing at people all the time. He doesn't want to help anybody. Um, and then this girl materializes in front of him, and him in his horniness just decides to like kiss her, like while she's naked in his arms. It was just so weird. Like, I get it, you're young and you're horny, but that's still like, it's still like wrong. Like, there's other people in the room that are doing just as many wrong things, like taking a picture of her. And one guy who's like a gangster straight up picks her up and drags her down the hallway to rape her. And yeah, Kay didn't do that, but he still was like kissing her and like trying to like touch her. It was weird. And it was weird for the main character to do that. Like I really didn't like that. And for the most part of the first season, I did not like Kay. I just thought he was an asshole. I thought he was selfish. I thought he had zero redeeming qualities. And the crazy thing was that Kato like apparently looked up to him as a kid. Like Kato is he's taller, he's better looking, he's taking care he's living with his aunt and his younger brother, and he's basically taking care of his younger brother because his aunt is an abusive bitch, and she's always hitting his younger brother while he's going out to work. And he's having a hard time with how to deal with that, but he remembers Kay as this rebel, as the kid that stood up to bullies, as his inspiration growing up. And now it seems like Kato is like the only good person in the room, and Kay is just as worse as just as bad as everybody else. And I was just struggling with that. Like you can have a sarcastic character and you can have him, kind of be a dick sometimes, but if you make them too unlikable, then it's hard to root for him. It's hard to like be invested in the show if this is clearly the one you're supposed to be following. So anyway, um they save the girl from getting raped, and they figure out that Joichiro is the only one that really knows what's going on, and they're like, just tell us what the hell is going on. And he's like, I don't have time to try to explain it to you. You're not going to believe me anyway. All you could do is put on these suits and try to stay alive. So some of them do, some of them don't, and they get transported somewhere, and this black ball basically says, hey, your lives are mine. You're going to do what I tell you. And right now, I want you to go kill this alien. And it shows a picture of this green looking alien dude who likes onions. And he's weird. And you know, the anime was kind of confusing. Like it seemed to suggest that when these guys are transported out into just some Japanese city on their mission to kill an alien, nobody can see them. So they're running around, they're trying to talk to people, nobody can see them. But it does. I'm not really sure if people can see the aliens or not. Like, are the aliens just living amongst people? Are they invisible as well? Either way, it just seems like this alien loves green onions and is just living. Like it's not like these are like a sect of like a secret cell of aliens that are here to invade us. It seems like they're just like living amongst us. Peacefully or something. I don't know. Anyway, this group is sent to kill them, and everybody is still doubting it. Even after they're materialized into the city, they're still like doubting what the hell what's going on, and they're keep on asking that punk Joichiro for like more info, and he tells them that it's some type of game, and the winner gets a bunch of money if they kill the alien. So some of them are like, all right, let's do it. So they hunt down, they see this kid immediately. They hunt him down and they shoot him with their little tech guns. And it's kind of cool. The guns are like they don't have bullets that come out. There's like a flash of light, and then after a delayed amount of time, whatever you shot at like implodes. So they gruesomely killed this kid, and the main characters are a little like they're not really sure if they should be doing this. And Kato mostly is just like this is you know he gets in a position where he could make a shot, but he's just not sure if this is the right thing to do. Well, they end up killing this kid, and they're like, okay, we got him. Well, apparently that's not who the ball was talking about, or at least the ball was also wanting them to kill the dad, because the dad shows up, and the dad is giant and just starts ripping them to shreds, and he's got like Edward Scissorhand claws, and just I mean brutalizes them and just starts tearing them into pieces, and gets some of the main characters too. And you know it, as soon as he starts killing people, then it should have been like, okay, you might have had your reservations before, but this is clearly an alien and he wants nothing more than to kill you. But some of the main characters, Kay and Kato, are still like, they can't shoot him. Like, he's right up in their face. They got the gun in his face and they're like trying to reason with him. In fact, for a good majority of the first season, like their main lines are "I can't," or "I can't do it." And I mean, I almost wanted to do like a compilation of how many times they said "I can't" because it was getting annoying. Um, while they're running, Kay finds out that this black suit isn't just like to look cool. When you get excited, uh, or when you get hit, like it absorbs. It's kind of like Black Panther. It absorbs the energy, so you don't get hurt as much. And then you can jump far, and you can build up your muscles like a lot more than normal humans. So it makes you superhuman. Um, so eventually, I mean, this first alien gets dragged out a couple episodes and they kill him and it's done. And then they are transported back to the room. So the people that are alive are transported back, people that are dead stay dead. And then the people that are injured, as long as they were alive to a degree, then they are transported back to the room and they're healed. And basically, they're told, they go to that sniveling little Joichiro dude who basically like stood off to the side and let most of them get butchered until he had a shot. And they're like, tell us, just why are you being such a dick? Like, tell us what's going on. And he, again, like, doesn't want to give up any information and basically says, you can go home now. So they're able to just leave. And so from here it kind of drags a little bit. They all go back to their homes for a while. Kay gets visited by the Kishimoto girl, and she like doesn't want to go home. I can't remember if it's because she committed suicide in that home and she just doesn't want to be there, or if there was another reason. But she clearly has a crush on Kato, the tall, handsome, well mannered, good moral dude. But for some reason, she went to Kay's house, who's just such an ignorant prick, and he's just a dick. And she shows up there, and he just thinks, oh, she's here to bang. And she's just like, no, I need a place to stay. And it's kind of weird. She's like, I'll be your pet. You can treat me like a pet. And it's like, okay, I don't know if that's just like, like, I don't know if that was a translation thing or if that's just how it is. But um, again, it seems like the subtitles weren't as vulgar or weren't as over the top as the dubbed version was. But again, like just everything about Kay, like to the voice, like he just sounded so like just he was bitching all the time. His voice just annoyed me. A lot of things annoyed me, and so basically he just tries to sleep with her for a while. He's kind of molesting her and everything. He's just, again, I'm finding little reason to like this guy. And this goes on and on and on for a while until they're transported back to the room and they're given another alien to go fight. And I'm just like, finally, like this is a cool concept. They're being forced to go kill aliens. I want to see more of that. I really don't want to see this horny dude just trying to molest this girl for the whole show. So they get sent to kill this dude who's like a robot who loves birds. And if you piss him off, he opens his mouth and like a light and the sound obliterates you. And he messes up some dudes. And so they kill one of them, and there's like a bird inside of it, and it's like slimy and shit. And then they're like, okay, we killed them. It's time to go. And then they find out there's like tons of these dudes. So they're like fighting them all night. And at some point, the show had a countdown where like if you don't kill them by the countdown, then you lose. But then at other points, like the countdown just ends and they just keep on fighting until they kill the guy and then they're transported back. So I don't really know what the countdown was for. But K gets in a situation where he's surrounded by these guys, and he finds the boss, which is like this 10-foot tall, beefed up, crow looking dude, and he just comes out muscles and just beats the crap out of K. But K ends up killing him, and gets points. And I didn't mention this before, but when you get transported back at the end of the game, you get points based on how you do. And if you kill the boss, you get more points. If you kill more, you get more points. And basically, you just have to do this again and again and again until you get to 100. And when you get to 100, you get one of two options. Either you can leave the game and your memory will be wiped and you won't have to remember this at all again, or you can revive somebody that died. So like, the ball like keeps a memory of everyone that was ever participated, and you can choose to bring someone back, and then it'll just laser them back like they were never dead. And so they just keep on finding out more things about this ball. Like the ball contains their suits, it contains guns, it contains a naked dude who's like breathing into something, and you're not sure if he's just like the battery for the ball, if he is Gantz, controlling this, or if he's just like, another piece of the puzzle. But he doesn't respond to them. He's like comatose, and again, they're just learning very little. And that prick Joy Chiro dies. So more and more people die to the point where Kay and Kato and Kishimoto are like, after only a couple games, they're like the experts, when they barely know anything. But now they know that the quicker they get to 100, the quicker they can get the hell out of there. So they just need to stick together and make it through. So then the next time they get called back is to fight these big statues at a temple, and they've got new people now. They've every time they get more people, and depending on how many people died in the last round, that much people, that much new people gets brought. And during these episodes, when they're fighting these giant statues outside of like a Buddhist temple, it keeps on cutting back to this homeless guy who's getting like gruesomely killed, or beat up with a bat by this like teenage kid and his guardian. And I'm like, why do we keep on seeing this? Like, it's like, just show the aliens. Like, I'm cool with gruesome, you know, hunting down of aliens, but I don't want to see a homeless guy getting, tortured and beat to death, you know. And they just keep on cutting back, and I was getting annoyed. But the series eventually addresses that. But for the couple episodes, I was like, why? Like, why are you so fixated on this? They're fighting these gigantic, tall statues. They kill the statues, but then, of course, it's not over. Then all these small statues start showing up. And unlike some of the previous groups, most of these guys are like, all right, man, we don't have our suits because we weren't listening, but clearly shit's going down. If we're going to survive, let's just kill these dudes. There's even a dog that keeps on getting being a part of this group. I don't know why. And the dog has its own suit. But so they start fighting him. There's only a couple people that run off, and apparently if you run too far away, you die. Like, you just, like, your head explodes. So you have to be a part of it. You don't have to participate, but you can't like run. If you don't participate, you just don't get any points, and then you're just in the game longer. So they were fighting these guys, and the main crew, Kay and Kato and Kishimoto and this new girl are fighting the big ones. And this new girl is one of the new crew, and Kay gets lucky and they have sex before they even go out in the field. Like, they meet 2 seconds later, they're having sex. And then during this, like, sometimes there's downtime and they're just waiting to find the next alien, and they're just having a conversation, and she's just kind of telling him her life story, and they like fall in love. It's very rushed, but they fall in love in the matter of an hour or two. And she's like, there's this book that I want to pick up from the bookstore tomorrow. If we survive this, me and you should go there together, and we can, maybe start dating." I'm like, all right. I mean, you guys already had sex in the hallway just for randomness, but okay. So he's kind of falling for her, Kay, and he's starting to like be on board a little bit more. Like he's no longer like, oh, I don't want to be a part of this. He's just like, I'm gonna go all in. So when it gets to this giant statue that like obliterates the building when it comes out, Kay's just like, I got this, man. He just starts attacking it himself. In fact, sometimes he's even pushing people out of the way, which again is kind of a dick move because he just wants the points, but he's just gung ho. Like he just wants to finish it. He just, he's not backing down anymore. And um, there's some good parts about that because he just, he's not going to hold back anymore. Where Kato is still kind of holding back, and it's kind of annoying. Like he's the morality guy, but these things are trying to kill you. Stop holding back. Just kill them. They kill this guy, but then they find out there's even more. And this dude in the gold is like, he just starts messing people up. He kills a lot of main characters. It gets down to really just Kay and Kato. Even the girls get killed. And he's just killing people brutally. And then you find out that there's like some green monster dude inside of him. And sorry, that's a bad picture, but they end up eventually killing him. But pretty much everyone dies except for some of the new crew and Kay. But all the other main characters that you've been kind of starting to get attached to are dead. And so basically he's left. And the next time he gets called, he's got a totally new crew. And this is when I started to like him a little more. Like, even though people weren't listening to him, he was trying to be helpful. Like, he was starting to be less and less selfish. He saw that all of his friends were dead, and he realizes that there's a chance for him to bring them back. Bring back the girl that he was falling in love with, bring back his childhood friend. If he gets to 100, and if he just keeps on getting to 100, he can bring them back. And he starts kind of like looking after Kato's kid brother and everything. So he's becoming a better person. Anyway, when he gets called, he gets a whole new crew of people. Shop owner, some dude that was trying to commit suicide, one of his teachers that he was kind of horny for, who's been having an affair, some girl that got murdered in the streets, some guy that was trying to do a good thing. It was a really cool episode because you just saw all these people who were just like had shit luck, and they all died, and then they got brought here. Then you see these two assholes, and these were the guys that were killing the homeless people in the park while everybody else was fighting the statues. And they try to come off as like innocent, but like you've seen them do terrible things. And Kay has seen them too. He saw them do this, but he was too busy fighting the big monsters to stop him. So he knows they're evil. And this is um, the second season, or the end of the second season, and basically he's trying to tell them, hey, they're gonna show what the alien is, and we got to go hunt him down, and I'll explain as much as I can. He's trying to be helpful, and then it shows his face on the ball, and the Gantz wants them to kill him, and he's like, what? you know and he's like, stop screwing around, Gantz. I've been doing everything you want me to do. Show us who you really want us to fight. But apparently Gantz wants them to kill him. And so the final arc of the second season is all these people hunting him down, and some of them are like saying, hey, this isn't right. Some of them, like these sadistic assholes over here, are just like, hey, we don't care, we'll kill anybody. They start messing with the women. They're just brutally violent and rapey and everything. And pretty much everybody dies. And Kay realizes that they're all connected. All of these people were there at the subway station when he and Kato died in the beginning. and they all watched, and then it just ends. Like it ends with him saying that I'm gonna win this, and you're not gonna beat me, Gantz. But it seems like he dies, and Gantz killed him, and then that was it. And that was the end of the show. And that's how the anime ends. And I was like, that's it. I was just starting to like this guy. He was starting to grow on me. I wanted to see what he was gonna do. Um, I don't know. It was just weird. It was weird that that's how it ended. I don't know if it just got canceled or what. I know that the manga is like crazy long, so there's so much more story in the manga. And apparently, this last arc with them hunting him down was not in the comics or the manga. It was something that just the anime did. But I was still like really kind of confused and upset that I had like watched this whole show and really struggled through parts of it that were boring or that were just like like just things I didn't like when I just wanted to see the cool people in suits fighting the aliens, and then that's how it ended. So I did some research, and before I go try to hunt down the manga, found out that there were some. Well, first of all, we can't move on until we check out the end song. As much as some of these episodes got me mad, this is like a very calming song. So I was like listening to this, and I was like, all right, this is relaxing. That's the end credits song. But so I found out that there was a couple live action adaptions. And it's got basically the same characters. You got Kei, you got Kato, you got Kishimoto, you got that asshole Jerry or Joy Chero. Um, so I was like, okay, let's watch these. I know it's not anime, it's anime adaptation, but perhaps this will expand more on the characters. So off the top, I really liked the guy that played Kay. I thought he was a lot more likable. Sure, he was horny. Sure, he was reluctant, but he just didn't come off as much as an asshole. He just came off as a little reluctant and a little, to himself. But I liked him so much more in the live action adaptation than I did in the show. Um, you had Kato. Um, or Kato. I liked him. Great casting. Looked just like the character. He was very solemn. Acted just like the anime did. They did great casting with these two. The girl that plays Kishimoto, I thought she was great. She actually gets some licks in this show. She gets some kills and stuff like that. She's pretty competent in the movie. They don't the nice thing about the live action adaptation, it's rated R, I'm pretty sure, because it's pretty violent, but they don't show any nudity. So it's just kind of like what I was talking about with Wicked City. It's a really cool concept, and I really like it. And I think I'd love to see a movie version or a modern series version, but it was just so like bogged down with the nudity. Like it was like part of it was this awesome sci-fi concept, and another part of it was this kind of like cheesy, porno concept that just was just over the top and ridiculous. Like, I get it; they're skin tight suits, they're cool, but they look cool. You can focus more on. It'd be like if the Matrix had a ton of nudity just because there was a lot of leather. Like, you don't have to go in that direction. Um, this is the guy that played that Joichiro guy, and he was perfect. He was just as much of a dick in the movie as he was in the anime. The first movie really clipped along really well. They covered basically the same aliens that they covered in the anime. The Onion guy and his dad, the robots with the birds, except they don't show like the giant boss bird. Unless I'm forgetting something, I don't think they showed the giant boss bird. They just showed the robot. Then this is very gruesome. This is when they blew up the kid. So it's very gory. But I dug it. Then it goes to the temple with the giant temple things, and then the golden god thing that was, that obliterated everybody. And that's how the first movie ends, with basically, everybody dead except for Kay, and um, he wants to get to that 100 so that he can bring his friends back. So then the second uh, uh, movie, The Perfect Answer, he is the likable character I wanted him to be. He's the mentor to all the new people. It takes a moment for him to learn how to say things properly, because when you get materialized into this room, you only have so much time to like figure out what's going on, to get your gear, and then you're transported, and then you either survive or you die. And so he becomes like the leader. You got this nice old man that's kind of his second, that who's he's competent as well, and he kind of helps him out. And So it doesn't show as much of them fighting aliens in the second movie, but you get the sense that he's been doing this for a while because he's building up points. But there's a subplot in the movie where there's this popular actress, and she discovers a small miniature version of the Gantz ball. It's a black ball, and it's a key, and she's supposed to collect four of them. And the way that she collects it is killing whoever the balls tell her to kill. And then those people show up in this room, as the new people, for Gantz to play with. Um, there's also like a detective who's trying to find out as well. He's heard about this as well. He's trying to find out. And There's like a cult group as well who's trying to find these balls. And then in the middle of the movie, Kato comes back, and he's walking around, but he wasn't revived by Kay. He just came back, and you're not sure if it's him or if it's somebody else. But things get super violent. There's this really cool train sequence with the cult group who are apparently aliens. It's kind of, I don't know if they had budget issues with the second film, but there's no like aliens or robots or anything like the first film had. It's all just like people who, have like, black stuff coming out of their mouths or something like that. But there's this epic train sequence that reminded me of like the Raid 2's train sequence with Hammer Girl, and some other things, some other shows. But really cool fight scenes. They not only have guns this time, but they have like samurai swords, and it gets really intense. And then they end up bringing back the real Kato, and Kato and Kay fight the bad Kato, and it's this epic fight, and he just kicks their ass. Um, and it's a strong show for not having a lot of aliens in it. It was definitely interesting. And then At the end, instead of going the route where the anime went, where Kay becomes the target, it's actually the girl that he's been seeing becomes the target. And the ball is like convinced that she's an alien, and so Kay has to like protect her. And he and her has been looking after Kato's younger brother. And Again, it's just kind of weird. Like I don't think that's where the manga went. It seems like it was just like a way to end the movie. But he has to protect her, and some of the participants like agree to help him, and some of them are just like, nope, we just need to kill him, just like we would kill anybody else. And It's an interesting ending. Um, there's two other things that I watched. There's Another Gantz, which is like a TV movie that came out that was simultaneous with the events of Gantz and Perfect Answer. And it has like clips from those movies, and it follows a reporter, who's like trying to figure this out. That was an interesting thing about the live action movies. In certain scenes, like the train sequence, people like civilians could see the Gantz players. Like, in fact, they would make fun of them for the outfits that they were wearing, and so that was a deviation from the animation, and or from the anime, and that was kind of weird. Like I wasn't sure if it was just for that scene or if it was the whole time. And then it was just like, Sometimes you would see things like the aftermath being reported, but you'd never find bodies of like the aliens and stuff like that. So I just wondered, like, how much was this going on, and what was the purpose of this? If these aliens weren't causing problems before, is this Gantz like really like looking out for everybody's best interest? At first, you think maybe it is, and it's just a sucky situation everybody's in, but they have to be there. But then with the way the anime ended and the way the movie ended with the ball turning on them, it was kind of like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? And then, oh, by the way, it ends with K being the man in the ball as like a new battery for the ball. So it's just kind of a weird thing. There was also Gantz L act and action stage. So they did a stage production of pieces of the anime and of the first movie, which was kind of cool. It was a very minimalistic play. I don't understand Japanese, and there was no subs, so I just had to watch it. But having watched the movies and the anime, I got the gist of what was going on. I almost wonder if the guy that played Joichiro was like the same actor from the movies, because he looked exactly like him and he had the same mannerisms. It was, I mean, there's perfect casting with that dude. But that was kind of cool. I mean, it's just neat to see that this that this story has just had so many chances to really flourish. In fact, I read somewhere that Sony Pictures is trying to make a version of this for the US. And like these live action adaptations, I'm sure they will focus on more of the aliens and more of the concept than the nudity. I just thought that was so distracting, and I wondered if it was censored in Japan or if that's just how it played. And then did that play like, was that like a cartoon, like Saturday morning cartoon, or was that like a late night thing? Because it was just, there was a lot of nudity and there was a lot of sex, and again, I can't read Japanese, so while I thought that the subs were toned down and the dub was like a lot of cussing and a lot of just whining and bitching and a lot of vulgar stuff. I don't know if the original Japanese copy was like that. The dialogue was like that, or if that's just what the American version turned it into. It could have been exactly like that. I just don't understand it. But so it was interesting. Um, so, like I said, there was a CGI movie for this. In fact, it's on Netflix. It's called Gantz O. I have seen a trailer for it. This looks like um, Kato. So I don't know if this is a remake or if it's a sequel. I think so. I saw that a lot of the manga has like Gantz and then a letter, and that either means like a city that they're in or a time period that they're in. I think O means that they're like in I think it's the initial for whatever city they're sent to, but I don't know anything about this. Also, this looks like Joichiro guy. I mean, he looks smug. He's in a gray hoodie like he is in the um, in the anime and in the movies. So I don't know if this is a remake or a sequel. Um, because I thought I heard somewhere that this was based on some of the events in the manga later on. But I'm excited to watch this. I'm going to do a reaction instead of just talking about this one, so that we can experience it together. I'm really excited. I might even record that tonight and release it later on this week. But overall, I really like the concept. It's a really cool concept. The suits are cool. The guns are cool. The idea that there's aliens out there just walking around the cities and no one knows that they're there, and someone has to go kill them. And instead of like a secret extension of the military going out or black ops, it's these people that just had shitty luck and they're killed, and this ball gives them a second chance at life, and if they can survive, then they can get out of there. And if you're a good person, and your friend dies, you can make the selfless choice to bring them back, or you can just get out when you get to 100. But I feel like some people would totally be down for this. people that love first person shooter games and stuff like that, this is like, and it's not constant. You do get breaks in between, and apparently you're able to kind of go back to your life. You just have to, when the duty calls, you're there whether you like it or not. So I really like that. I really like the weapons. I really like the suits. I really like the concept. I was just annoyed by some of the character choices, and I really wanted to like the main character, but it took so long to do it. And then when I finally did, then they killed him off, and it just ended. I don't know if that series was canceled, the anime series, but I feel like it could go on for a while. So I'm gonna watch Gantz O, and then I might check out the manga. I bought the manga for Akira. After I watched it, I really wanted to know more and read more. I could tell that movie was only a part of the story, just like I can tell that this is only a part of the story, and I want more. So give it props. Gantz did that. I can see why a lot of people like it. It's definitely R-rated material. It's definitely one of those things where I'm sure a lot of people have said, "Man, it'd be cool to adapt this," but either we bring the sex in and then it's considered by some to be softcore porn, or we don't bring the sex in and then I'm sure there's a plenty of people that would get pissed about, "Oh, you took out all the sex," but because I'm sure you've seen some of the cosplay for this. They're not all like they're pretty risque. Some of them are pretty risque, but I really liked it. Thank you for everyone that suggested this to me. Um, I was intrigued, and this is the first time I've watched an anime series and not just a movie. It's a lot easier for me to do a movie because I can, it's like a couple hours. This was, 2 seasons. And then I just kind of felt obliged to watch the movies, and I'm going to watch Ganso. So um, please send me more um, requests and recommendations. I want to learn more. I don't know anime, and I want to experience more and expose myself to more. So yeah, let me know what you want me to watch, what you want me to react to. We're also going to be looking into setting up a Patreon, so you can support us a little more and get your requests in a little better. Sometimes I don't always see the requests, and sometimes I don't really know how to prioritize them. But I've been keeping a running list, and I got some more to do. So thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time. See ya.